February 2020, Melly was involved in a multi-inmate fight inside the day room of his area unit and was given a DR for his role in the fight. October 2020, placed on a room restriction for refusing to go back to his cell as he was trying to hide while on the phone.
And developing now, there's a new push to get rapper YNW Melly out of jail. He's currently awaiting retrial for two childhood friends, but a new lawsuit alleges he's being held in inhumane conditions.
YNW Melly was just ran up on in his jail cell block today. The news would read, Florida rapper YNW Melly targeted inside of his jail cell block today. Sources claim that he was targeted for commissary goods or even block authority. Oftentimes in jail, when somebody new comes into the cell block, they will either go after the biggest person and or the most popular to make a name for themselves, but here's where it gets odd. When YNW Bortland accepted his plea deal against YNW Melly, an email between the lawyers involved would leak online, which goes and reads, given Mr. Henry's plea deal and proffer agreement, we request his deposition as soon as possible. Given the circumstances, we are concerned for his safety, so would like to facilitate it in the next 30 days. Please advise if you can continue to represent all of the defendants, meaning the prosecutors believed YNW Bortland would be caught lacking in his cell block before being able to deliver his incriminating proffer against Melly, but in reality, it was actually Melly who ended up getting targeted. However, investigators believe this was all planned. In case you didn't know, YNW Melly is close to receiving a house arrest or a bond agreement. He is so confident of his jail release that he even ordered a $100,000 chain that he can wear when he finally gets out.
I would assume
still,
that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry? You're not here to wear the jewelry.
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend
That's
money
what
on.
bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine, but it's just like, it was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro. And now it's like, he don't even want the chain no more.
This is because YNW Melly just sued the county jail, exposing them for doing something illegal. It was announced, YNW Melly sues the Broward Sheriff's Office for cruel treatment and is seeking immediate release from prison. Melly also claims they have not allowed him to see or speak with family members in 3 years. As described by YNW Melly, he says he's been living in freezing cold jail cells with no edible food in jail and no human contact. It was even shared. An interview from Melly's mother paints a disturbing picture of Melly's life inside a jail, making it sound like he won't last much longer, as during the interview she would go over the fact that Melly was granted a mistrial, essentially beating the case, but they still left him inside a jail.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
Jamie King would even reveal that she is absolutely heartbroken for her son because he's not even being treated like a human inside a jail. But comment down below what you think he should be living like.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
This would end up going viral on social media. Charleston White would even react, saying this is what YNW Melly should be living like. He shouldn't get special treatment because he's a famous rapper.
Even the YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing about being mistreated. When you done chose to play somebody,
It would even get the attention of Boosie, who would speak on the stress that Jamie King has been going through because his own mom has gone through a very similar situation with him.
Okay, so
then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
But this is where the feds would respond to YNW Melly's lawsuit. They would end up going out to arrest his ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton, which will ensure that Melly is sentenced to life in prison in his newest trial.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
Mariah only lasted a few days inside of jail. After having an extremely hard time on the inside, during her first court hearing, it was clear that she wanted out. The judge would make her a deal, saying if you agree to testify against Melly, you're free to go. She accepted it instantly, making it the worst news possible for YNW Melly. Even when she was released from jail, she would write on Facebook, "To my village, thank you to my village. I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." This is because they found very concerning evidence in her iCloud account relating to Melly forcing her to not testify in the original trial. This is known as witness tampering by using the jail phone. This carries a life sentence in prison regardless if Melly actually took out Sack Chaser and Juvie.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
The witness tampering case is also separate from his existing case of Sack Chaser and Juvie's passing, meaning there's a world where he is found innocent in the passing case, but guilty in the witness tampering, and he'll still go to prison for life. Due to him witness tampering with the jail phone, however, Melly has now no longer been allowed to use a phone now for over a year. Even Juvie's father knew that he was witness tampering with it, and he exposed it to the public.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, trying to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom. And
the most concerning part of it all is the feds 100% have the evidence to prove that he was witness tampering with the jail phone. They wouldn't just keep him off of the jail phone, as that is actually illegal. It would also create a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that the feds would not take a chance on. But it's what happened next at Melly's court hearing that will result in him being released, where the court day would begin with the prosecutors sharing with the judge evidence on why Melly should not be released from jail. You comment down below if you would release him after hearing it all, or they would begin by telling the judge Melly sent a text message hours after the crime admitting to it.
The PC Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly account says what?
After that, SHHHH.
Alongside this video of Melly, only an hour after he sent the text message, dancing in a parking lot with YNW Portland.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! The dog still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
showing not even an ounce of sadness for the passing of their two best friends. But they would also share with the judge the ballistics evidence reveals that the direction of bullets traveled from left to right inside of the vehicle, supports the claim that they originated from the back left seat where YNW Melly was positioned, so they would show the judge exactly where YNW Melly would go and sit in the Jeep in the back left seat.
Excuse me, you're able to see?
Not only that, they would also share with the judge YNW Juvie's mother confirming who was sitting in that exact spot after watching the same footage you just saw.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury?
I'm Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the kids in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right-hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
While everything looked terrible for YNW Melly, it resulted in his lawyers responding. They would first begin their defense, showing the judge from the original trial the prosecutors admitting there was never a firearm even found.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay.
They would then share the evidence that was found inside of YNW Bortland's home, trying to show that Bortland is more of a criminal than Melly.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortland was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortland, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortland allegedly tampered with the witness.
The news report alongside that evidence reads, here are the images of alleged notes discovered during the home raid of YNW Bortland's home last week, as filed into the Broward clerks by the state, where it is these photos of Bortland detailing where certain jurors were sitting, along with a description of what they looked like. Bortland showed up to the first day of the original trial. Before leaving, he took a mental note of where all the jurors were sitting and exactly what they looked like, went home and drew out all of them on a piece of paper, making it look like if Melly was found guilty by these lawyers, Bortland was gonna go slide for his best friend.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortland, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
However, this was before Bortland accepted his plea deal, which makes the rest of this evidence extremely concerning, and let me explain. Bortland will be able to validate all of the new evidence prosecutors want to use against Melly, such as why did rapper Fredo Bang pick up YNW Melly on the night of the crime on the side of the road?
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon to his current location to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up
Frederick Gibbons then, about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Demons has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone call.
But they also want to use evidence from a Facebook post to YNW Melly with Young Thug, trying to say that Melly is a part of the Red Street team just like Young Thug is.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, he's hanging with him. And he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Demons has the big B hand signs displayed.
Right, and see with individuals again, I'm assuming that's also Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.
But it was this moment where it is clear that Melly was not happy that Bortlen accepted his deal, as Melly even made an effort in court trying to tell his lawyers to just let them use all of this new evidence against him because he knows Bortlen will validate it anyway. The News wrote, today's hearing marks the first time Melly publicly went against his legal team's advisement in open court, where he is seen yelling at his lawyers.
Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client wants to proceed.
You objected to it. You're requesting me to determine this automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us, yes, sir.
People in the courtroom overheard what YNW Melly said. He said, quote, "I don't care. I'm not in no gang. They can't prove that."
I'm aware that 924-071. Call for an automatic stay. While
they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the further conviction, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilty.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.
But now they also want to use new evidence from an ex-O Block member who snitched on YNW Melly for a secret that he told King Von. Before King Von passed and Melly was arrested, the two were best friends. King Von told people in O Block that Melly was asking him for advice on how to deal with people.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Walter Bam. I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
But what's even more concerning is that YNW Bortlen is going to have to validate all of the evidence I just shared, as it is a part of his proffer deal. It reads, as predicted, YNW Bortlen took the plea deal. He also agreed to a proffer, which means that he is talking. The sentence is to accessory after the fact. He will do 10 years plus 6 probation years minus any credit in gain time. We've already requested his deposition in a civil case where DJ Academics would explain what is really happening here. He wrote, the judge says both charges YNW Bortlen pled no contest. To that, he has to provide a factual basis for him to accept the plea, meaning you have to tell a factual story of how you indeed committed accessory to the crime, which confirms that the crime occurred, which YNW Melly is being charged with. It's a gonna plea, except with the proffer, he can't say yes ma'am, he's gotta sing like Franklin.
I did tweet out saying people are upset. I said this is a gonna plea. This is a gonna plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gonna plea. Why do I say he signed a gonna plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. Oh my God, what that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a murder took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that the happened, and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know, and then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
This even resulted in a lawyer writing, Lil Wayne, in Kodak Black's attorney, Bradford Cohen, says YNW Bortland has bit the cheese and is likely to flip on rapper YNW Melly.
All right, let's talk YNW Melly and YNW Bortland. He is now doing the triple Lindy. For those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
YNW Bortland would then react from his own jail call, having his lawyers leak it online for him, trying to prove to the world that he isn't snitching. But you comment down below if you think Bortland will snitch on Melly. I'm gonna read them all.
Man, you better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid, they hate it. Forward to control, they quick to pray. I'm a young G, just skated for license. What I look like taking the deal that hurt my. I look like giving a about how y'all feel. I'm a young fly, be back to raise and prevail. Damn, why they want to take that L? Don't you know you can see the dirt for even speaking that L? It's sport to sport, and ain't a part of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. YNW for L, never be stopped. Let's stop playing on my top like y'all know what the f going on, man. Hey, free me in, Melly, boys.